Good afternoon and welcome to our Friday Forum. Our presentation today is Dr. Robert Nelson, Sacramento State's Evolution in Response to the Pandemic. As a reminder, today's presentation will be recorded and it will be available for later on the Renaissance Society YouTube channel. If you have any questions during the presentation, please use the question and answer option to type the question. It's located down at the bottom of your screen. Submit the question, and time allowing, we'll be going through them at the end of the presentation. It's my pleasure now to introduce Ken Cross, who is our Renaissance Society president, for a few words.
Thank you, Laurie. Once again, it's that time of year for our Thanksgiving Food Baskets program conducted by the Associated Students, Inc., or ASI Food Pantry. And you'll see at the bottom of the slide is the actual link to the website that you can check out. This, once again, if we'll go to the next slide, tells you a little bit about the program itself. This has been an annual event where you can donate food items, and you simply drive through over at the Children's Center parking lot, number 7. I actually went by yesterday and dropped off some food bags to the volunteers and the staff at ASI Food Pantry. The next opportunity is next Thursday, November the 12th, from 9 a.m. to noon. And once again, all you have to do is drive into the lot, the parking lot number 7 behind the Child Care Center. You can see a list of the foods. Now, you don't have to write this down real quickly. If you look at our weekly update email we send out each Wednesday, we sent out yesterday via Constant Contact, you'll see a couple of links in that message under the Share tab, and it'll give you a flyer that has all those items listed. So easy to do. And the other alternative, if you don't want to go and drop off food, is you can actually contribute make a monetary donation, and you can either mail it in or do it via credit card. And you'll find that also in that link in yesterday's weekly update and Constant Contact. So hope you can participate in that. There's people, students and their families who will not have as good a Thanksgiving if we don't do this. So I encourage you to do that. Also, I want to let you know in a few weeks, you'll be receiving a letter from me that it's time for our annual fall fundraiser for our Sac State Scholarship Program. And for any of you that are new that don't know, each spring we award 7 scholarships of $3,000 each to well-deserving students. And our Renaissance members annually donate $21,000, which is the best investment you can make, supporting students in their pursuit of higher education. And this program was actually started, the scholarship program was started in 1993 by Lou Weintraub and Doug Fulton. In this spring, 2020, we surpassed the 100th scholarship awarded milestone and $206,000 donated to further Sac State students' education. So once again, both of those great programs. We'll be seeing that letter in a couple of weeks signed by me, and you can follow through, several ways you can follow through. So I'm very happy today to be able to introduce our speaker, President Robert S. Nelson, who arrived on campus July 1st of 2015. This is his 6th year. I was a friend, Alan Keon, one of our members, was sharing the story with me. Our executive committee went over to see him for the first time, and they wanted to recount all our volunteer hours that we'd given and kept referring to us as guests on campus. And President Nelson kept replying to them that we were members of the Hornet family. I think they finally got it about the 3rd time you said it, but we're glad to have our president here visiting once again the members of the Hornet family here today. So one of the things he shared with us, President Nelson has spoken to us several times over the last few years, and he talked about how he actually negotiated for the science building that we have now as part of his hiring process. I didn't even know that's the way that worked, but we do have a brand new science building thanks to his efforts. And one of his first priorities he was given from the CSU system was to get the 4-year graduation rates up. When he came on board, we were running about 8 to 9% of our students are graduating in 4 years. So he hired Jim Dragna as his graduation czar, and they created the Finish in 4 and Transfer in 2 programs that we heard about last week from Jim Dragna. And he actually received a national award about 2 years ago on October the 28th of 2018. And President Nelson accepted an Excellence in Innovation Award for the American Association of State Colleges and Universities in Washington, D.C. for the university's successful strategy to increase graduation rates and reduce achievement gaps. So as I said, after our forum last week to Jim Dragna, I said, Sac State has become a real paradigm shifter nationally. And our 4-year graduation rate now is at 20.4%, up 127% since 2016. Recently, money.com recently ranked Sac State in the top 10% of 730 nationwide colleges for overall value, ranked number 9 for most transformative colleges, and the top 50 for best public colleges. One of the things that President Nelson's been very passionate about is the Anchor University Task Force, and he held 3 stakeholder meetings in 2019, published a report, and then the pandemic struck, and we had racial unrest nationwide, and he took a stance this spring on combating racism and bias, and that program is underway now. So the university took a pivot in the spring and summer, and I'm going to share, and maybe I'm stealing his thunder, but record enrollment this year, over 31,000 students. Well, so as a member of the Hornet family, it's a great honor today to have President Nelson share with us Sac State's evolution in response to the pandemic. President Nelson.
Thank you, Ken. You are part of the Hornet family, and when I first met the Renaissance Society members, I wanted to make that clear that there was a place for you on campus. There's still a place for you on campus. There's a lot of places for everybody on campus right now. As I look out my window, it's lonely here. There aren't very many people around, and it's a strange feeling. But I know that our students will be back, and I know that we will be successful. And I know that we will continue to fulfill our real mission, and that is student success, and that is helping the community, and that is being involved at all times. The Renaissance Society is a core part of the family. I think about the scholarships that Ken just mentioned, $1,000 in scholarships every year. That is just remarkable. I think about what you've done for our undocumented students and supporting them with emergency grants and the like. I think of you supporting our anchor mission and being there for us and helping us. We are a better university because of the Renaissance Society. Before I begin to talk about the evolution, I think we should talk just for a minute about the elephant in the room, the elections. Okay, we don't have an answer yet. I haven't been able to watch TV today to see what is up and where the numbers are, but there's a lot of apprehension out there, and a lot of apprehension among our students in particular. We don't know if there will be unrest. I was downtown having to film the other day for a commercial that we're doing. And it was sad to see all of the plywood going up on to protect windows and the like. It's sad to think about what's happening. But I believe in Sacramento. I believe in our students, and I believe we'll be all right. We have been offering healing circles and breathing spaces with counselors so that our students have some place to be able to talk in small groups about what's going on. The counselors have been made available for many hours, and they're doing telecounseling and counseling face-to-face. We have made sure that the MLK Center, the First Generation Student Initiative, the CERNA Center, the Pride Center, that they're all reaching out to our minority and underrepresented students. We've also had panels for individuals so they can understand what the Electoral College is and how it works. Our political science group has been fantastic on that. I'm so proud of our faculty on that front. And as a lot of you know, we had a vote center. In fact, many of you helped us with the vote center last year. It was active this year. Hundreds of people came. It was the first vote center at a campus, at a university in California. And because of it, now all CSUs, all 23 of them, have vote centers there. We're really proud of that. And we also had a ballot drop box in the well. And I'm proud to say that over 450 people came and dropped off their votes so that they could be counted. So, one more odd thing in a very odd time as we're going forward, but we are seeing democracy in action, and our country will progress and move forward. Now for the campus update that you asked for. As I said earlier, during the pandemic, Sacramento students they didn't know what was going to happen. None of us knew what was going to happen. It was frightening. On March 17th, we pivoted and we moved ourselves completely online. Not a single class. Over 4,000 classes going online, 9,000 classes going online in a matter of 4 days. In a matter of 4 days. Our faculty stepped up. And as I told a group the other day, they are my heroes. I don't know what it would have been like to teach online. I've never done it. Most of them have never done it. And you worry about, okay, is education going to be as good? Are students going to drop out? Is everything just going to fall apart? It didn't. From March 17th to the end of the semester, we only had 70 students drop their classes. 70 students out of 30,000 students. The students were able to complete the classes and they came back. Our retention rate, the number of our freshmen who were here last year and are now here this fall, 84%. Nationwide, retention rates are in the low 70s. Our transfer students, 90% of them came back. And you heard Jim Dragna talk last week about how the graduation rates are improving and how the retention rates are improving. And that's happening in spite of the pandemic, in spite of everything. We have two North Stars here. One is the safety of our faculty, our staff, and our students, and of the Renaissance Society. And the other is our educational mission and our graduation initiative. Our students graduated this fall. 5 years ago, we were graduating approximately 7,000 to 7,300 students. Now, we had over 9,000 students that were eligible to walk if we could have had graduation down at Golden One. And over 8,400 received diplomas this year. This summer, we went from having maybe 3,000 students taking courses to over 5,928 students taking courses, all because they wanted to get enough courses so that they could graduate in 4 years. Our 4-year graduation rate, as Ken just pointed out, has improved to 21.4%. That's an increase that is just miraculous, and people are noticing it. We are a finalist right now for another huge award. The American Association of Public Land Grant Universities have announced that there are 5 universities for a completion award. That's the highest award they give. And that they hold, that's all of the Michigans, all land grant universities, every one of them are part of it. And we're there with Northern Arizona, Kent State, ourselves, and 2 other universities competing for a completion award. I think we got a good chance of winning it because our students are graduating on time. We decided very early that we were not going to be in a situation this fall where we would have a lot of COVID-19 illness on our campus. We decided that we were going to go virtual way before any other universities did. Chancellor Tim White brought the presidents together. We had some difficult decisions because we wanted the students back. But we didn't want to happen what we've seen happen recently at Michigan, where there's sudden outbreaks. We didn't want to happen what happened at Chico, where everybody had to get sent home. We decided that we would make sure that our students were going to be successful. We decided that we would be virtual once again. To do that, we knew, our faculty knew, that we had to get prepared and we had to work hard so that we were teaching appropriately, so that we knew how to use Canvas, so that we knew how to use Zoom, so that we were delivering real content to our students. Now, when I got my PhD, the last thing I ever wanted to do was go back to class. At that point, I decided I was the teacher. I was not going to go to class again. Our faculty decided to go back to class. This summer, 800 of them went to summer camp. They took classes on how to teach better online. They took classes on how to empathize with students online, how to connect with students, because they weren't having that opportunity and that ability. They took classes on how to deliver content asynchronously and synchronously so that students could have different opportunities and would be able to take them. Right now, we have 60 faculty members who are in a STEM academy who are working on how do you do a virtual biology lab? How do you do a virtual chemistry lab? How do you teach science online? Yes, they went back to work and they dedicated themselves to our students to moving forward. Not all of our students have the capability, the money the technology that it takes to be an online student. We have been very lucky to receive over 37 million in CARES grants, grants from the federal government. Of that money, we spent over 17 million in direct emergency grants to our students so that they could pay for their rent, because a lot of them lost their jobs, so that they could pay for bills, so that they could even move back home. We also spent, or are in the process of spending, money to help the students and the faculty. We have given out over $1 million, or loaned, purchased and then loaned over $1 million in computers, laptops, so that our students and our faculty can work from home and can study from home. The new parking garage on campus, if you go into it, it is a hotspot. It is wired so that students can drive in there and connect to the internet and work from their cars. Sounds crazy, but it works. It's pretty amazing to go over there and seeing little kids running around up and down the ramps while mom or dad are in the car working on a laptop. We've also purchased over 800 hotspots. Hotspots that connect to the internet. And that is not a cheap item. It's costing us about $57,000 a month to have those hotspots working. But we know that our students wouldn't be able to afford their own Wi-Fi systems at home. And we wanted to help them. And we know that the internet is not necessarily good in all places. Right now, we have approximately 400 people that are using Comcast. We worked out a deal with Comcast so that they can have a year of free internet in their house. And there are other people that are doing it at the same time. We're getting the technology to be able to close the digital divide and help the students and the faculty communicate, connect, and be together. This fall, we decided, unlike in the spring, that we needed to have some campus classes, some face-to-face classes. I am very worried about nurses. In the spring, when the hospitals got clogged, the nurses who were working there, doing their clinical rotations, which they have to do to be able to get their nursing license, were sent home. Over 100 of them had to take incompletes. We know that we need the nursing and we need the next generation of nurses. So we brought our nurses back onto campus, and they're working with mannequins and getting their nursing certification and their clinical rotations in that way. If you're going to be an engineer and you're going to be in construction management, you've got to understand the tensile strength of concrete. You need to work in the concrete lab, smashing concrete, finding out what works and what doesn't work. So we brought the engineers back. If you're an artist, most artists do not have at home, especially if you're doing sculpture, the tools. You don't have a welding machine. You probably don't even have a pot, whatever those things are that are round, that spin around and around and around for the pots. Okay. If you're throwing clay. So we brought back the arts, and we brought back people. If you're going to do costume designing, you need to be here with the machines, the sewing machines that we have. Approximately 3,000 students are on campus each day. That's down from the 30,000 that would be here on a regular basis. They're taking individual classes. They are all wearing masks. The seats are at least 6 feet apart. People that are in doing band and the instruments, they're playing in the garage and they're playing outside. It was very interesting to see an opera, 2 opera singers yesterday outside singing way far apart, but making sure that they could harmonize together in that experience there. We have everyone wearing masks. In fact, the campus was designated by the county health department as a public place. So not only do you have to wear a mask inside, you have to wear a mask outside. And all students are wearing masks, and all faculty are wearing masks. The staff are mostly teleworking from home, other than the guys who have to be here for the leaves. The leaves are falling fast and furious right now, and the grass is growing all the time. So there are grounds workers that are working here. If you have been on campus, you will see that we're taking advantage of this time to work on the sidewalks and make them ADA compliant, and make sure that where the tree roots have come up, that we've got them smoothed out and they're safer there. Only a few of the buildings are open, and the buildings that are open have a one-way in and one-way out, and you have a student ambassador at the beginning, making sure that you are okay, that you're feeling well, and that you can come inside and go to class. They have extra masks for people, and they make sure that no one wanders off or congregates inappropriately there. In the dorms, we only have about 350 students. That's out of 2,100 total students. The 350 students are in single rooms. The dining hall is open, but no one's eating in the dining hall. Instead, you can go in and you can order food and take the food back to your room, but you're not eating there. The closest they get together is when they're playing cornhole out in the quads, okay? And they're having a tournament this week. It's going to be fun to be able to watch from the distance and see what they're doing there. We have a daily app. It's on your phone where you check, and those questions that you're used to the doctors asking you, have you been traveling? Have you had a fever? Have you had a cough, et cetera, et cetera? You answer that before you come to campus, and so that we know that you're safe and you're ready to be here and everything can be okay. I think most of you know we made a very hard decision and decided not to play football. When you're ranked number 4, and in one survey, in another one we were ranked 11, it's really pretty hard to say we're not going to play football this year. But we sat down with our coach and we talked, And he wasn't as worried about COVID as much as if we started playing spring football and started in January and went until May, and say we got into the playoffs, and that's the end of May, what would happen when we had to start football again in August? As I said, the Twin North Stars, safety, we decided not to play football because it was too dangerous for our athletes. And with COVID on top of that, it's even more dangerous. We have free flu shots right now in a flu clinic on campus. The last thing we want is to have a double whammy of COVID-19 and flu at the same time. So we're trying to be very careful on that front. It's wonderful to watch the students stream in and the faculty and the alumni to get their shots and to be safe on what they're doing. So far, we're only seeing maybe 6 to 7 cases a week on our campus or in our community. And by our community, I mean our Hornet family. Usually because we ask everyone to report, of the 35,000 people that are part of Sac State, we will have reports of maybe 20 people, maybe more than that, who think they have it, but the positive tests have been very minimal, in the 4 to 6 range each year. I mean, each month, each week. And I think, have it fairly well under control, but we're worried about the spiking, just like everybody else is worried about the spiking that's taking place out there now. As I said, and as Ken pointed out, we've had record growth this year. We have 31,510 students. That is up from 31,156 students. 354 more students came. When other universities are seeing a drop in enrollment, we are not. People want to be Hornets. Students want to be Hornets. They are seeing that we can be successful, and we are making sure that they are. I don't know if Jim told you last week about the Hornet launch. If he did, I'm just going to be a little bit redundant right now. But we are very proud of the Hornet launch. The Hornet launch is a way to schedule our students in advance, to give them a structured schedule, so that when they come here, they're already signed up for classes. I'm sure some of you remember, I certainly remember when I first went to college, we had to go into a big gym and we had to pull out cards and had to try to find classes and everything. And at that point, we didn't even have course catalogs that we could use, and we'd have to go find those cards. Well, now our students are surveyed in advance. They find out what courses they're interested in, and we get them in those courses. It has made a tremendous difference because now most of our freshmen this year, over 90% of them, are taking at least 14 credits. And those of you who've heard me talk before have heard me say 15 plus 15 equals 30 times 4 equals 120 equals graduation. They're signing up in advance for those courses, and they're able to set themselves on a path for a 4-year graduation. The Anchor institution is critical for what we're doing. And I appreciate Ken's work on the Anchor institution task force that we had. And I appreciate everyone who's helped us on that front. But right now, to end up, I want to talk about the anti-racism initiative that we're involved in right now. While the pandemic's been going on, obviously things have changed, but so has our world around us. With the civil unrest, with the loss of Black lives, with so much anger and frustration, and frankly, with so much racism, we at Sac State knew that we had to do more. Today, as part of an anti-racist planning group, 95 people came together on 7 committees to begin working on an anti-racist, inclusive plan for our campus. Sacramento State does not just condone racism. We have an unwavering commitment to ending racism. For years, we've made a concerted effort to support our African American, our Hispanic, our Asian and Pacific Islander students, to support the diversity that is here. We want to be an inclusive campus, a campus where everyone feels at home. I am proud that this year, African American students now make up 7.5% of our student body. That's an increase from 5% in 2015. This year alone, we added 693 African American students. Students are going to get a chance to progress, to get an education. Many of whom, like many of you, they are first generation. We're going to do the same for every student so that we have a truly inclusive university. We're making a very concerted effort until this coming year to hire a more diverse faculty. Unfortunately, our budget was cut by over 18 million by the state. So we won't be hiring very many faculty this year, but we want to hire faculty who look like our students so our students can look at them and feel like they are at home. In September, we held a convocation. A convocation is a day where we stop our classes, and instead we come together as a community and we discuss a topic. We explored what it meant to be an anti-racist and what it means to really be inclusive. We heard from Ibram Kendi, who is the bestseller of on the New York Times of how to be an anti-racist. Sean Harper, the director of USC's Race and Equity Center, came, and we had panels by our students and by our faculty about how to move forward in these troubling times. To that end, I have promised that we will continue to support the MLK Center, the support that we're actually going to create our very first Native American center and dedicate some space in Lassen Hall for them. We're going to support our Asian Pacific Islander student. We're going to support our Guardian scholars. We're going to support every student here to be inclusive. We're going to hire an ombudsman, an advocate who will work in the division of inclusive excellence to help people who are experiencing bias or racism on our campus. We're looking at our curriculum to make sure that it is not biased. We're going to support the new law that just came through on ethnic studies and make sure that every one of our students have an ethnic studies program. We will increase the training on our campus, and we'll increase the advocacy with the community, with the city of Sacramento, and with law enforcement, so that we can work together to change the way that our cities are policed. We will not stay quiet as our students or anyone suffers from injustice or racism. We are committed to being successful in creating a campus that truly cares for everyone. A campus where everyone can come together. I invite the Renaissance Society to join us in this effort, because we need to beat the pandemic, but we also need to bring peace and justice for all, for every Sacramentan, for all. In conclusion, and then I'll open this up for questions. I believe that Sacramento State is a university on the rise. We will be announcing next spring our comprehensive campaign. A comprehensive campaign to raise $225 million.
Oh, geez.
We've already raised 184. We are on the rise. We have doubled the number of scholarships that our students are receiving, thanks to you. We are supporting our researchers. We're supporting our faculty. The small number of withdrawals that we had this spring proves to me that we're doing something right. Our faculty are doing something right. Our staff have risen to the occasion. I'm hoping that you are proud to be part of the Hornet family. We are certainly proud to have you as part of our family, because as you know, I believe very firmly that Sac State is number one. Stingers up. And with that, I'm open to any questions we have.
Thank you, President Nelson. Again, this week, I'm happy to be an alumni of Sac State as well as it was last week. You guys are doing some great work. We got a few questions that have come in, and probably more as you begin answering here. At the top of the questions was just a big bravo that you're doing a great job, and I'm sure we can all agree with that. The first question is, what's special about the 300 residential students? Did you, for example, ask all 2,000 plus students to find housing elsewhere if they could? How did you handle that?
We were prepared to take in 1,100 students because that's about how many we could fit in there in single rooms. But we allowed students not to come if they did not want to. So they self-selected. I'm very proud that we opened it up and gave scholarships to the guardian scholars, the foster children who didn't have any place to go. We also did it for our homeless students that did not have a home to go. So we set up a whole area for them. Then we've got athletes that are there, that are here, that are freshmen, that are just starting. So it was a self-selected group, and most of them, this was a place, most students wanted to stay home. And you know, and with the finances and everything else, it made most sense for them to stay home. And being online, it made most sense. But there were people who really needed that opportunity. So that's why we kept it open.
Great. Okay. So in regards to the student nurses, somebody's asked, how do they learn to place lines if they're only working on mannequins?
They still have rotations in the hospitals on top of it, but they actually do place lines into the mannequins themselves. And the mannequins will throw up on them. One mannequin, I let her retire. She gave birth to 2,500 babies. Okay. And they had to catch each one of the babies, and they could drop the babies if so they had to really work. You can, the mannequins are actually set up so you can run lines and do all that sort of stuff. But I sometimes am not a nice person about the other university on the other side of the causeway. I want to sing UC Davis's praise because they've taken our nurses in their hospitals, and they're doing rotations there and working with them very closely. So it's been a really good partnership with UC Davis.
It sounds like it. That's great. Will there be basketball this year?
There will be basketball. The basketball games start on November 26th. However, you're going to have to watch them on TV, okay? So Pluto TV is available. It's free. Every one of the games will be broadcast there. Basketball is going to be an interesting element because of the NCAA rules. If one person on the team gets COVID-19 and you play another team, both teams are going to have to be quarantined for 14 days. All 25 people, because they're in pods of 25. And so it's going to be a very delicate situation, and that we are testing the athletes 3 times a week so that they can do it on non-consecutive days. And so far, so good. I think we'll be all right, but no fans.
Okay. You mentioned the need for city police to be better trained in anti-racism, but you didn't mention campus police. Do you have some kind of program in place for them?
Yes, we do. In fact, we're working closely with them, and our faculty, our police undergo a lot of training and are very much so. I think all of you have seen how many CSO, community service officers, the young students that are around. We begin working with them right from the very beginning as they're come forward, and they work with the LEX program as well. But we are working closely with our criminal justice program, with Ernest Awazi, who heads up that program. And we have anti-bias training taking place. And yes.
Sounds great. What kind of programs do you have for students who have served in jail and in prison?
Well, I'm really excited about this one, and very few people know about this. Let's do people who have been in prison first, okay? We have what is called Project Rebound. Project Rebound is an amazing program that allows those convicted felons to be able to come back and go to school and get counseling and are helped in that way. We have an area over in Laslin Hall for them. There are some really amazing people. In fact, one person won a Dean's Award just a couple years ago. Tammy, she was imprisoned for drugs, and she wouldn't mind me telling this. She told the whole graduation, everybody, about her story. She was a foster child. She was abused in foster home, and she got in a very bad situation. But she heard about Project Rebound when she got out of prison, and she came to Sac State. And now she's pursuing her master's degree in counseling. So, I mean, yes, we've got a good program. The one that excites me the most, we just got the ability to be able to teach in Folsom Prison. I was up there where Johnny Cash sang and got to walk and see that part. We will teach 3 classes there this coming fall. And it'll be a new program. The federal government is using it as an experimental program to see how it will work. There were about 20 universities chosen across the United States, and we were the only one in California. No, Cal State, LA, and us. So there are 2 of us that are doing it.
Out of curiosity, what kind of classes are you teaching there?
They're going to be communications classes. With the first classes, we're going to offer a communications degree initially. And then we're going to teach them entrepreneurial courses because many of them are going to have a difficult time when they come out getting jobs and that. And so having the entrepreneurial skills to be able to build their own businesses will help them.
Great. Awesome. What 2 or 3 areas could you envision the Renaissance Society making an even greater contribution to Sac State's success in this coming year?
The anti-racism that I talked about and being involved in that, I think that's critical. I think the other is the anchor institution. Now that we have got an official group put together for a anchor, it's no longer a task force, but it's a committee that will be advising the president on what it means to be involved in the community. What worries me most of all things is we'll get our educational mission working, but how do we stay connected to the community? And the Renaissance Society can help us stay connected to the community. And then, as always, I'm just so grateful for what you've done for our undocumented students and helping them come forward. I'm just so grateful.
Somebody's asking, besides engineering labs, are you having science labs? You mentioned it's hard to succeed in biology and chemistry without labs. Can you say any more about that?
Yes, we do have science labs. And I'm surprised, though, that we have more arts classes on campus than we have the science labs. So the science professors have been coming in and using the labs and filming everything that they're doing in the labs and then broadcasting it back because they're able to do it and then do problem sets with the students in that way. So there are advanced courses, but the beginning courses, largely they're finding ways to be able to do that. Where the biggest number of science courses are in geology. because they have to fill the rocks. They've got to break the rocks apart. They've got to do things that you can't do without really being hands-on in that. But there are science, not as many. I expected that building to be the most occupied, and the faculty there proved to be the most genius.
I had a question that I thought of while you were speaking. Since I'm clearly the Hornet Bookstore isn't open, what are the students doing about textbooks?
No, the Hornet Bookstore is open.
Oh,
It's open 5 days a week for 4 hours a day, and they're getting them. We had it worked out so that students could actually drive up and get their books and things like that. And we worked out, one of the things we did with the CARES money is we worked a big discount for a $250 discount on tablets and computers so that students could buy them there. And so they could, be able to take their classes and the like.
so you were talking about the 800 hotspots. Are those mobile hotspots for internet connection that students can take home with them so they can have internet connection?
Yeah, they're mobile hotspots that you can take home, and you have just as good as regular Wi-Fi in your own house. And
Great. So somebody wants to know about your interior decorating. What does that skull behind you have? Any meaning on your desk?
so when COVID happened, and we're just ending Dia de los Muertos, right? When COVID happened, one of the donors for athletics was down in Mexico. And he was there on a vacation, and he had this skull made. Okay, it says on it, Stingers Up. It's got the S on the side, and Sacramento State. And he's an older individual. And so he came back in March, but they've really not gotten out of their house at all. 2 weeks ago, before the Dia de los Muertos, he came out of his house and brought me the skull that he had brought back from Mexico.
That's great. That's great. Well, we're going to end there. President Nelson, thank you so much for your time and answering those questions. And we'll turn it back over to our Master of Ceremonies.
So President Nelson, I want to thank you again for being with us today. I know you got a really busy schedule. I really appreciate you making us feel like members of the Hornet family. I want to remind our members that ASI Food Pantry is still taking donations next Thursday from 9 to noon, and both physical donations and monetary donations. And I look forward, President Nelson, to at your convenience, our executive committee meeting, having a brief meeting with you to share our annual report and to kind of delve down deeper into how we can support you. So please be thinking about that, and at your convenience, we'd like to have that conversation. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to say thank you. I'm a Sac State graduate also. Today's presentation has been recorded and will be available on the Renaissance Society YouTube channel. And we want to remind everyone about next week's forum. Cassandra Walker-Pye will be doing a conservative's take on America Now. So thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great week.